Let's we'll do a ridiculous segue and we'll talk about Dr. Peterson.
I have been so excited about this.
Yeah.
So I had to respond to Jordan Peterson. The New York Post reports Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover model critic Jordan Peterson quits Twitter after backlash. Bye for now.
I told Lydia his away message should have just said no fatties.
Right, for sure.
So there's a New York Post posted this morbidly obese woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And Dr. Jordan Peterson said, "Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that." I thought it was really funny. I thought it was sweet. And I think him deciding, Jordan, I think he's great. I'm a big fan. I think him deciding to get away from Twitter for a little bit is probably a good idea.
For sure.
Seamus put it well. You said...
just about picking your battles.
Choose your battles, man.
There's something in that.
I kind of feel like when you're swimming in the swamp for too long, actually, is a better way to put it. Be careful when fighting monsters, lest you become one. Mm-hmm. For when you gaze into the abyss gazes back.
Peterson would know that.
And so when I saw this, I kind of felt like...
Are you calling fat people monsters? Just to be
clear. Timothy.
Jordan Peterson
You came here to cancel him. Where's the camera, Project?
No, I kind of feel like... Here's the issue. Let me show you these photographs. Here's Cosmo we've mentioned before. This is healthy. It's a morbidly obese woman. Here's another morbidly obese woman says this is healthy.
Also wrong.
I think these are awful. I think these are dangerous. I think they're wrong.
Yep.
I think you should not encourage people to be unhealthy. Obesity can cause cancer. There was a big row in the UK because there was an ad that was put up that said I think it was like the number one cause or like number two cause of cancer or something. And it was obesity. You had to guess the letter. And people were like, this is fat shaming. So they also had the Beachbody ad of like beautiful men taken down or replaced with fat women. I'm like, that... I can understand when they're trying to encourage. This is a cover of Sports Illustrated. They put a fat chick on it. My response was, yo, Dr. Peterson, some guys like fat chicks. Yeah. Like, let them have their day.
That was my favorite take, dude.
Well, but also, it's like the fact that the argument went from don't sexually objectify women to like make sure you're more inclusive with your sexual objectification.
Exactly.
It's so strange. That's literally where the left went. Like, no, the larger women should be objectified as well.
My favorite part is
it's like
larger women.
My favorite part of the day was after you tweeted that, imagining all my old liberal friends being like, oh no, do I be mad at Tim Pool or Jordan Peterson? And having to like pick a side and just heads exploding everywhere.
You know, it's funny. It's how it works on Twitter is if they don't see the things I tweet unless someone screen grabs it, and the only reason they'll screen grab it is if they can mock it.
Sure.
So when there are tweets where I'm just like, like let some people like fat chicks, like
so funny.
Let them have their day. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm not. Look, encouraging it, saying it's healthy. Partly, they're partly encouraging it. They're putting on the cover of magazines, but I'm also just like, I'm not too concerned about them showing a morbidly obese woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated, but I do have questions. And so the one thing I would say is, if Jordan Peterson criticized it appropriately, I would be in total agreement and we'd be talking about it. What he said was authoritarian tolerance, not beautiful. It was like taking a sledgehammer to like a wood nail or something.
And then it was so easy because then everyone just started posting sad pictures of Jordan Peterson. Yeah. And I was saying, I mean, he could have just maybe texted a slightly cuter member of the like intellectual dark web, just shot Sam Harris and be like, hey, can you post this? Exactly. Sam's got dreamy eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you on the health thing. When I taught jujitsu, I've had a lot of people come to me because they were overweight and they were really sad about it and they were embarrassed about it. And I haven't talked about this publicly recently. I wrote about it like a decade ago, but I've struggled with binge eating. I mean, you would call it an eating disorder. If it was a woman, you would say I have an eating disorder. Food issues are hard, man. And the times I've been overweight, I've hated myself and I still have body dysmorphia, even though I train every day. And, but what you're saying about health is so important. Number one, if you just quote unquote, if you actually fat shame people, not what the left say is fat shaming. If you actually fat shame people, that's not going to help them, right? If I see someone down the street, I'm like, hey, fatty or whatever, they're not going to be like, oh, I better get to a jujitsu class. They're going to hate themselves more. And by the way, same with me.
But Seamus would laugh and then high five you, and that would feel really good.
Why are you making this about me?
He would never.
He'd be like, yeah.
What are you talking about? When have I ever indicated that would be my response to someone heckling a stranger?
The craziest fat shaming story I have when I had the old progressive podcast, and I told this on a Rogan, I think, but it still horrifies me, is there's a dude who wrote in and he said his doctor said, yeah, same deal, morbidly obese, essentially said he's going to die. And he had kids and was like, I don't know what to do. So I wrote him an email. I sent him a bunch of healthy recipes. I found him a jiu-jitsu place. I actually emailed Tim Spriggs, who ran the jiu-jitsu school. I was like, oh, I remember that guy. 6 months later, 8 months later, whatever it is, he writes into the show and he goes, hey, dude, my doctor just said he's never seen such a quick turnaround before. My kids are so proud of me, and I'm entering my first white belt jiu-jitsu competition.
Cool.
Now, Lydia, you're reacting like a normal human being.
Right.
Right? We got 6 to 10 emails the next day saying by reading that email, we were fat shaming them. And that's when I go, and I was still in my most progressive, most woke. I was like, you would rather this dude die and orphan his kids than temporarily feel bad about yourself and maybe let that inspire you to, I'm not saying if you don't do jujitsu, you're a fatty.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a totalitarian, whatever.
Authoritarian.
Yeah,
I don't do
say
jujitsu.
Not beautiful. Yeah,
Seamus, you're
But
fatty unless
but
you
hold
do
on.
jujitsu.
But can I ask you something? Would it
Yeah.
be helpful if like you had a personal trainer who's like, you are going to be an authoritarian fatty, like you need to lose
That'll
the
do it,
weight?
yeah.
Make this app.
you-
Make the Jordan Peterson weight loss app.
Yes.
We have. That's another
it. We gotta
sketch.
do it.
We have
That's
to do
another
this
sketch.
I
sketch
said
of Jordan-
clean your room, not your
Oh
plate.
my gosh, I love that. That's so good.
I'm writing that down.
I'm
Just a bunch of
inspired.
lobsters going shame, 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 shame.
I love it. Can I just say before we move on,
Yep.
this was my red pill. When I was 11 years old,
Yeah.
I looked at the healthy at every size movement. And I was like, these ladies are not healthy. And I want to say there are two things here. One is subjective, that is beauty. You and everyone
Yeah.
else is welcome to think that this lady is beautiful.
She is.
She's
She's
very
yeah.
pretty, 100%. She's solid
She's
lady.
a chunky queen.
She is a chunky queen. She is thick with 3 C's, and there's no problem with that. I appreciate it. However, the other is the objective, and this is what I was seeing when I was 11. I was like, dude, these ladies are not healthy. This is not good. This lady is not athletic. I'm not sure why she's on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Sure.
I don't think she plays a sport other than, I don't know.
Hot dog eating
eating
contest.
contest. Yes, thank you, Timothy.
I tried to do it with a straight face. I
I was gonna say, the eye contact you two made
Yeah,
before
ready?
that
Let's
line
go.
came out was
Let's get ready.
beautiful.
I was like, I know what
I
sport she
couldn't do
plays.
it, though.
But anyway, it's like she's not healthy, and I know this isn't going to be good for her down the line. Now, Tess Holiday really troubles me because she's literally like Tim is just cracking.
I'm
up
just
over
imagining
here. Can't
Sports
help it.
Illustrated doing like the 12th annual hot dog
Covering
eating
it.
contest.
Yes. I see it. No, don't predict the future. Stop this. Stop this. It's not okay. Tess Holiday is like 400 pounds. She's like, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so healthy. I'm like, B word. No, you're not. You absolutely aren't. This
Like
is
I
so
don't want
unhealthy.
anyone to hate themselves, right?
Exactly.
Like I don't. It's sad. It's sad to think of someone hating themselves because they're fat, and there are a lot of people, I'm sure, even listening to this show, who spiral about that. But it's worse to hate yourself so much that you end up in denial, and it's the same as when you tell your friends, hey, I'm going to quit drinking because you have a drinking problem, and your other friends are drinking problems. You're like, well, is your problem that you're a little bitch? And they're trying to get
Right.
you to keep drinking.
Right.
And it's like, bro, if I'm an alcoholic and you are pushing me to do it so you can feel better about, drinking on the weekends because you don't want to see your wife and little spite kids, then it's like, that's on
Jeez,
you.
yeah.
Like, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
legit thinking that the
Tim
future of
can't
Sports
handle it.
Illustrated is going to be a whole bunch of really
Pie
messed up
eating.
stuff. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's because like
Angrily tweeting.
Oh my
well,
goodness.
no, because have you ever seen what's that morbidly obese women's clothing store?
Oh, Torrid.
Torrid.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Like they have mannequins that are morbidly obese.
Oh, interesting.
And
Do
I'm
they just tie 5 other mannequins together?
Pretty much. I don't know.
I don't know if we can get in trouble on YouTube for saying this.
Anyway.
No, but I'm like,
Mannequin shaming?
there's a conspiracy theory. You know the Dove Real Beauty campaign?
Yeah.
Do you know who owns Dove? What's the parent company of Dove?
No.
It's Unilever.
Oh, no.
Unilever owns another brand,
Oh, no.
Ben & Jerry's.
Oh, boy.
So
Yeah.
there was a conspiracy
Stop.
theory that they were, at a higher level, we're looking at like, we want women to eat more ice cream.
I was wondering why the woman in the shower using Dove was eating Cherry Garcia.
Explains it,
So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's like a meme about it. But I mean, it makes sense. If you run a business and you're like, we want to sell soap to women and we also want to sell ice cream, but all these super thin models are making people not want to buy ice cream, put the fat women in the soap commercial and the women will be like, that's like me, and they'll eat ice cream. And then Sports Illustrated will have ice cream eating contests in their magazine.
Yes.
What I mean is, if the average woman is obese then Sports Illustrated is going to start putting more and more obese women on the cover.
So with the body positivity thing, I want to sort of piggyback on something Lydia said. I don't agree with the idea that beauty is subjective. I do believe it's subjective. There are some elements of our like experience of it which is subjective.
Stop hitting on me.
I know. Well, but my problem is that, you know, what the body positivity movement could have been effective at is saying something like, look, not everyone is physically beautiful in the same way, but just because someone isn't beautiful doesn't give you the right to treat them poorly, because a person's value is not limited to their physical appearance, and someone shouldn't be treated poorly because they don't look good. And so instead they decided to say, actually, everyone looks good. And what did that do? That solidified this idea that actually appearance is what gives you your value. Because if we tell you you don't look good, then we are telling you you're worthless, because that's what we believe. So we just have to, instead of challenging our understanding of what beauty means, we have to say, no, everyone's beautiful. That way we can say everyone means something, instead of acknowledging that beauty is not the only metric of a person's value.
A quick fact check. We have here the Dove Real Beauty campaign, which was average to obese women, and I think they even had some amputees.
Yeah.
Ben & Jerry's, parent, Unilever. Dove, owner, Unilever.
No.
Conspiracy confirmed.
Oh boy, it's happening. Well, what I was going to say, I love what you just said.
That's
and
great,
also the times, even when I've been struggling, whether it's with depression, suicidal ideation, binge eating, whatever it is, the times where someone actually made me feel good about myself is when I would lock in and want to double down on it.
Yes.
The times where I would just go, you know what, I'm a fat piece of garbage. Well, then what does a fat piece of garbage do? He certainly doesn't train the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
He feels bad. He's got to fill the sad hole in his heart, so he starts eating more food. Or you just go, well, this is what everyone thinks I am anyway, right? So Sports Illustrated, you actually have this opportunity to do something like what you said, but then also write an article about, hey, you don't think you're an athlete? Have you tried these kind of sports? Have you tried skateboarding? Have you tried jiu-jitsu? Have you tried something?
Yoga?
I failed gym class. Literally failed gym class
do
in high
that.
school. I'll tell you how. You get stoned every day and pretend you don't have your shorts.
That works, yeah.
Yep. And then I found jiu-jitsu at 17, and I was like, I always wanted to learn how to fight because I grew up watching cheesy martial arts movies, and I fell in love with jiu-jitsu and accidentally became an athlete because I found something I loved. You can help people. You said you felt so much better. So did you like give up sugar?
Cut out bread and sugar.
Yeah, and like I want to ask you advice about that after the show, but it's because I'm feeling good about myself.
A heaping spoonful of almond flour, a heaping spoonful of walnut flour, 1 egg.
Yeah.
Mix it up, microwave for 1 minute. Boom, you got a keto biscuit.
Ooh.
Then I cut it and I put cheese, egg, and bacon on it, and that's breakfast.
Oh my God, that actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, I think the issue is when you're younger, you need a bit more food, especially if you're athletic.
Yeah.
For me, one of the issues was I used to eat like 8,000 calories per day because
Yeah.
I would skate for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so it was just a machine. When I got older and started skating less and doing, news and stuff more, I still had the habits of eating big meals. And then, I gained weight from it.
Right.
So now I'm like, I still skate a lot, but it's remarkable that in the past, it's remarkable how little I eat relative to what I was eating last year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you probably feel great. That's the thing. When I'm eating unhealthy, sure, I could say, I love my beer gut. I love my whatever, but I don't feel well. And I get depressed and I sleep
Seamus drinking
later,
beer.
which
Yeah.
means I don't go to the gym. And the times where I'm training and the times where I'm eating healthy, I feel good. And you want people to feel good.
Exactly.
And again, you don't have to say not beautiful, but man, you can also encourage people to be healthy because you want them to feel good. You don't want them to be depressed. The times I'm eating like crap, the times I'm overweight, it absolutely ties into my depression. It's horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and no one really openly says this, right? They'll just apply this principle to different categories all the time and hope you don't notice. But there's this weird pervasive idea that like everyone is equal in every single way. So no one's smarter than anyone else. No one's more beautiful than anyone else. No one's stronger than anyone else. And it's just not true. It's just not true. Now, again, what we should be promoting, and this is certainly what I believe, is that, humans are made in the image and likeness of God. Every single person has unfathomable value. But instead, because we have limited people's value to what they bring to us instead of what they are solely, without seeing them as full persons, in order to compensate for that, we have to say, okay, well, yeah, people really are just their physical makeup, and they don't have any intrinsic value besides these specific things we decide to assign value to, but they're all equal in those categories, so it's fine.
I'm not caught up in the news. Who's this god fella?
Well,
So-
we have
Sorry,
a
that,
conversation.
that was my old godless lefty days.
So for those in the chat that are getting triggered by my eating 8,000 calories comment, I'm clear. I was
A
exaggerating.
little hyperbolic.
Yeah, I was saying like I'm eating an exorbitant amount. I
Like,
didn't
how
mean
are you
literally,
not dead?
Like, eating 8 pizzas.
Well-
but no, but I will tell you, it's like not every day, but days before and sometimes after, it would be excess of 3,000 calories, and like, yo, guys,
Oh, if I train twice a day, I'm murdering food all
so
day.
breakfast with like meat, potatoes, eggs, toast. You're looking at like 800 with a glass of orange juice or 1,000. Then you've got lunch, which was a couple sandwiches, and looking at another 600-700. For dinner, you get Panda Express double orange chicken with a big thing of rice.
Yep.
It's like 3,000 to 5,000 depending on what you're eating. Some days we get Panda Express 3 times.
Yeah, I also.
But what seriously, skating for 8 hours a day, drenched in sweat, like. I'm not kidding, man.
No, a lot of my pro athlete friends can eat garbage. Like there's a jiu-jitsu fighter who is famous for trying to get a Panda Express sponsorship. And there's
So
another
good.
one who only eats In-N-Out and Five Guys and stuff. And they look great and ripped and shredded, but I'm sure the inside of their body is dying, which by the way, you could put that dude on the cover of Sports Illustrated and he'd look great. There's like the whole skinny fat thing. But again, he will be dead at 40.
Yeah, and that's why it was a red pill for me. I was like, they clearly don't care about women because it looks to me like they actually want them to die young. You can't tell me that you want these women to see their grandchildren. It looks like you don't even want them to live past 40.
I gotta say, I think it was Bill Maher who said this, but you don't see fat 90-year-olds, and it's not
Wow.
to be mean, but it's
Oh,
true.
I never
It's
thought
very
about- I never
sad.
thought about that.
It's
Yeah.
very sad, but it's true. You don't. It's like, well, if you care about people and you want to help them live longer lives,
Exactly.
you should try to encourage them, and like you pointed out, in a healthy way. Don't be a jerk
Don't
about it.
shame them.
But
I
yeah,
don't
but
think
you
I've
should
ever
still
made-
try to encourage them to get healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, one of my friends just hit me up today about starting jiu-jitsu, and he's a big dude. And I wasn't just like, oh, thank God, fatty. What, is your wife not doing you anymore?
geez, yeah.
I just literally, without saying it, I left him a voice
Awesome,
memo on
yeah,
Instagram
let's
and
go.
was like, hey, you're coming in with me. I'll take you into class. I'll make sure you don't have to pay. Let me make you feel comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And I told him I wasn't athletic and jiu-jitsu is what made all the stuff I said to you guys. And it's like, I'm so hyped to help this dude. And, a lot of people who are overweight, they just kind of silently suffer and they hate themselves and they
Right.
feel, and again,
It's hard.
I've been there on a million different levels. And I don't think this stuff is helping them. Again, I think the Sports Illustrated thing is harmless, but I think all that stuff that said like healthy is just like
Exactly.
liable. Yeah.
Right.
I think
yeah.
there's some harm in the Sports Illustrated thing. I just think Dr. Peterson went a little too far. Like,
Yeah, I don't
like,
understand that.
pull it back a little bit. Like I would put LOL and be like, no, thank you or something.
Yeah.
You know,
LOL.
too much for
LOL.
me.
No, thank you.
Even
from
that
Jordan.
though would be like kind of a wild tweet to see from Jordan Peterson.
That would've been a-
It was like,
LOL. No,
thank
thank you. That would have been incredible, dude.
Yo,
that would have been
yeah.
incredible.
Jordan, he tweeted that he's like had his staff change his password. He's getting away from temptation, getting off Twitter because it's toxic, and the barrage of insults. And I'm confused by that. I get it. For some people, having just millions of people tweeting hateful things at you, some people can't handle that.
He's very sensitive.
Tim loves it. He's like,
Are you kidding? Like, when I'm trending right now. I've been trending for like
Woo,
4
ride the
days straight.
wave.
And you know what I do? I posted the Elmo fire emoji. Like, say my name.
This is what I need to learn from you. I almost asked you this when we were hanging out
It's a
earlier,
skill,
but I
right?
wanted to save it for the show. Yeah, because I had John Cleese on my podcast and like a month or two ago, and if you guys from Monty Python, blah blah blah, and he's been canceled a bunch this year. And he told me he doesn't know why. And he's like, I don't look. Someone says, hey, you're trending on Twitter. And he goes, all right, I don't care. And then he goes and he lives with his, Monty Python money and lives a happy life, right? What I think one of my problems was that I couldn't take it mentally. Like I was suicidal. I did disappear and stuff like that. And so now that I'm sort of just diving into comedy, and in comedy, you don't really care as much and you can make things jokes, and that's all that matters. Because my problem too was I was just niche famous enough to get canceled, but like not famous enough to have a savings account or like a pool.
That sucks.
And so, you know, I see like John Cleese and I go, well, yeah, you don't have to look at Twitter, but I got to get booked at the Chuckle Hut in Kansas City and have a, you know, creepy anonymous Twitter account like DMing their GM. And so, but I also think that part of the reason you blew up was that not caring, and by you not caring, you were establishing your loyal fans, which I didn't do. I just like pieced out because I thought I was gonna die.
I come from the internet era of you like trolling to like you go on forums and you post things to get attention.
Right.
So when
those
I see
were the
like,
people that all called me cucks.
I'll see like you know Vosh trends a whole lot as well.
Really?
Yeah. And so like I'll see he'll be tweeting like 1,400. I'll be like, those are rookie numbers. You gotta get those numbers up, Vosh. But he had a funny tweet too. He said, I forgot what he said, but he said, I'm going to paraphrase, but something like, I have stared into the eyes of the beast and nothing scares me more than this monster. And it was a screen grab of Vosh trending. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Look, criticize
really
the guy and all that
funny.
stuff. I thought that was a funny tweet.
That's very funny.
But when I see like Tim Pool trending and I'm like, why is it so low? Like,
Come on, man.
It's like it was like 3,900 just a little
I
bit
would-
ago.
So
It's
what
like,
about when you were-
if you hate me, get those numbers up, baby.
Well, what about when you were like coming up dealing with the hate, or when you didn't have as strong a network?
I mean, the truth is, I literally just never cared.
You stink.
So like when we started,
I care
this,
so much, guys.
but look, when we started doing this show, we were getting like I don't know, shy of 1,000 concurrents or something.
Yeah.
I don't care. I wanted to do the show because I was bored. It's
Right.
like I want to do it.
Right.
And then people say nasty things about you and they criticize you, and you're just like, oh. I guess, man. I grew up on the internet. People
Yeah.
say nasty things all the time.
You also always had, because I realize one of the reasons that I'm so confident right now is because of I have a solid community for the first time in my life. In Texas, in jiu-jitsu, in comedy, where I have my favorite comics are my friends. Even just doing this with you guys, I'm like, okay, cool. I have like new friends now. My jiu-jitsu community, if people say untrue things about me in jiu-jitsu, unlike my old friends who were like, well, I can't tweet about Jamie. I don't want to lose my free internship at the Nation. It's like these jiu-jitsu guys, they don't care at all.
Right.
They're like, yo, we will go to war for you. Do you need us to go to war for you?
Yep.
Do you need my lawyer? I will give you my lawyer. Like literally doing things like that.
Real
and so
community.
That's what I was going to say is I wonder if even when you didn't have huge fans, you had your crew.
Nope.
And whereas I didn't have anybody.
No, I have no crew. I mean, like I show up at Occupy by myself, and for the most part, half the people got beef with me, half don't, and I'm just like, I'm doing my thing.
And you just didn't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I never cared. I mean, I care about freedom, personal responsibility. I care about truth. I care about.
Okay, so what about when people say stuff that isn't true? Because that'll happen to me sometimes where I'll post something and someone just writes, you were accused of sexual assault. And I want to just go, no, I wasn't. Because I wasn't. But I also don't want to address it. And that horrifies me.
I agree. I mean, it's annoying. But then there's also like someone with 100 followers will say something that's not true. And I'm like, okay, I could respond to them and try and convince one person, or I can do my show and convince a million.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep doing my
Just
thing.
getting bigger.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.